Hello and welcome back to the BSR TV Carrera Cup here on BSR TV. I'm Marcus Narris, and hopefully joining me at some stage this evening will be Carl Young. Poor old Carl's having problems with the machine again, so you're stuck with me for the moment. So apologies in advance for having to listen to me for another 15 minutes. But I'm sure you can agree that what we saw in race 1 was certainly some great racing. We saw a win in this first round of this new BSR TV Carrera Cup using the rough RT12R track car. We saw a win from Ian Smythe with a very intelligent piece of racing. As we said before the racing got underway, the draft was really going to come into play here at Watkins Glen, as it usually does, but certainly with these big tin tops, these big GT cars, they need to punch a big hole in the air, so being tucked up behind the car in front really gives you a big advantage, and Smythe took full advantage of that and timed his move to perfection, making the overtake on the final lap of the race, which gave Oki Stokenberger, who finished in second place, absolutely no opportunity to use the draft to gain that place back. And despite a real concerted effort from Stokenberger in the twisty section on that last lap, he couldn't get back past. He got alongside, but unfortunately couldn't get past and couldn't get the job done. So Smythe takes a race win, and he'll be absolutely delighted. I know he's a GT racer of some note on the iRacing service, and he certainly demonstrated why he's a guy who has a lot of success. It was not only quick and incisive driving, but it was very intelligent driving, so he'll be delighted. So as we get ready again for another 10 laps around Watkins Glen, one of the most famous tracks, you'd have to say, in the US, in northern New York, up in the Lake Country, the home of the US Grand Prix for 20 consecutive seasons from 1961 to 1980, and one of the tracks who's hosted the most consecutive Formula One races. It really does get forgotten that it was a wonderful facility in the heyday of Formula One through the 60s and 70s. And it's a great track for racing, as we saw again in race 1. If you're patient and calm and take your time, you can really get a good result round here. And I think as we see this new generation of drivers in the BSR TV Carrera Cup, that's exactly what they're aiming to do. They're certainly very, very keen on good, hard, clean racing. We saw a few incidents in that first race, but nothing really down to anything other than people slightly overdriving the cars and going past the limit. And unfortunately, there were a few accidents. But certainly the early reports we had from the field would be they were very, very happy with the way things panned out. So we got a lot to look forward to here in race 2. Of course, in race 2 we have a reverse grid, and I took the opportunity between races to have a brief conversation with Harry White, who will be starting this second race from pole position, and Harry was saying he was very excited, he couldn't wait to get away in pole position, but to be fair, from the tone of his voice, there was at least as much fear in there as there was excitement, and he's certainly going to have a bunch of very, very quick guys behind him, so it's a great opportunity for him to try and get away cleanly, put in some fast early laps and see if he can build a lead that the others will find unassailable. Difficult to do around here with the draft, of course, but as we saw in that first race, for the first 2 or 3 laps, Smythe and Stokenberger were happy just to hold position first and second place, and pull away from the squabbling cars behind them. And a few accidents later, they built a good 3-4 second lead very, very quickly, and were able to battle for the race result amongst themselves without having to worry about anyone from behind them getting involved. So again, it's very much a circuit that respects intelligent racing, and we'll have to see how things play out in this second race. Obviously, people will have their experience from race 1 to draw on. I'm sure it won't just be hell for leather from green flag to checkered flag, but a great opportunity for Harry White, starting in pole position, to try and take something out of this second race. He'll have Robert Plumley starting alongside him. Robert Plumley does a fantastic job for BSR TV in providing the alternative in-car stream for these Carrera Cup and events, and also for the British Touring Car Championship that we run on Thursday nights. Make sure you join us for that tomorrow night here from Watkins Glen, where we'll have 41 Maniacs thrashing Kias around here for another 3 races. And if you've not watched any of the BSR TV BTCC Championship, you certainly need to get onto YouTube tomorrow night to see that. It's a sight to behold. Right, so the cars start to take to the grid. I'll run down this reverse grid for race 2. Harry White and Robert Plumley on the first row, as we discussed. Just behind them, Cyril Thomas, an excellent result for him. Andy Shield, 4th. Stanimir Zusov and Ellis Stevens are 5th and 6th. Gary Toole in 7th. Stefan Hoog is 8th. And Oki Stokenberger and Ian Smythe, 1st and 2nd place from race 1. 9th and 10th for this second race. And they certainly appear to have the pace on the rest of the field in that first race. So it'll be interesting to see what these guys can do in this second race. I know for sure they'll be very, very keen to make up as many places as they can. As Smythe is the last car on the grid, everyone seems to be more or less present and correct. And it looks like we're ready to go for race 2 as the engine notes rise. Everybody gets ready, watching the lights, not wanting to go too early, and green, and away we go. And a fairly clean start from everybody there by the looks of it. Harry White leads them down into this first turn, and he's absolutely glued to the inside line, not wanting to take any chances whatsoever. And Cyril Thomas makes a great start and gets past Robert Plumley very, very early on. Looks like Plumley had a bad start, because it certainly appears that Cyril Thomas and Andy Shield got past him. So Thomas and Shield make a place up at the start, and as we go on to the back straight for the first time, Harry White is under significant pressure from Cyril Thomas. Thomas in that 888 number 888 car, really putting Harry White under significant pressure, and unfortunately he's left it too wide out there. And I thought for a second there that Andy Shield was going to be able to tuck his car up the inside into the gap that was left by Cyril Thomas as he tried to go around the outside of Harry White, but everyone seems to have settled down more or less. And it looks like we've had some fun and games further back in the field. Vitario Sutulamakia in the Epicuri banana car is all over the road coming down into the toe. In the Death or Glory team car. It looks like he's had some contact there. There was one of the Epicuri banana cars weaving all over the road as we came down into the tight hairpin that they call the toe, as it forms the toe of the boot here at Watkins Glen. So as we come to the end of this first lap, it looks like it's as you were up front to a certain extent. Harry White still hangs on to the lead despite a concerted effort there from Cyril Thomas to try and go up the inside of him. That's not going to work. So as they start this second lap, it's Harry White leads by just 0.2 of a second from Cyril White. Robert Shield is in 3rd, with Robert Plumley hanging on to 4th place. A big mover in that first lap, Ian Smythe up to 5th place, and he's dragged his race 1 competitor, Oki Stokenberger, with him. Smythe and Stokenberger now sitting in 5th and 6th place. So they've made up 4 places each in this first lap, which is a fantastic effort. And as we said, they certainly seem to have the pace. As we come down into the outer loop or the carousel for the second time, and again White takes the inside line. Thomas can't get it done around him. Shield puts Plumley under pressure and hangs. Does he just hang on to 3rd place? Yes, he's braver and later on the brakes. But around the outside of Robert Plumley, here comes Ian D. Smythe, keen to get back to the front of the grid, back to the sharp end as quickly as he can, and he makes that pass work. That's a tough thing to do, go around the outside into there. He's got around the outside of Plumley, and he's up into 4th place. He's made it stick, and now Plumley's got more problems. Oki Stokenberger up the inside of him as they go into the 90-degree heel turn. Is Stokenberger going to try and outbrake it? Yes, he does try. He's very late on the brakes. Plumley has to respect the fact he's up the inside, and yep, again he makes it stick. Very clean, very good driving, fantastic driving there, not only from Oki Stokenberger, but it has to be said from Plumley just behind him, who gave him the space that he needed to get the pass done. As in front, Smythe again, yep, he's on his way. He's decided he's not going to hang around behind Andy Shield. He's going to not settle for 4th place, and he throws a move up the inside there. A lot of respectful driving in these early laps. As up front, it looks like Cyril Thomas is going to try and launch a move down the inside of Harry White, and indeed he does. Indeed he does. He gets the job done. So we've got a new leader in this race. Cyril Thomas takes 1st place away from Harry White as we go into the third lap of this race, and we've had 3 breathless laps of racing. And very fortunately for me, it looks like we've got Carl Young back with us. And Carl, a lot of action in these first 3 laps.
Yeah, for sure, Marcus, and it's good to be back. Sorry for the delay here, dealing with a whole bunch of difficulties.
Oh,
the top 2 guys are just spun.
Oh, that's unbelievable. So what we saw there was Harry White trying to take that inside line to take the inside move on Cyril Thomas, and unfortunately he's not been able to nail it to that inside curb. As we said in the pre-race for race 1, if you can get up the inside there, you've absolutely got to be nailed to that apex, because you're going to have a car around the outside of you. And it looks to me as if, yep, absolutely, it looks to me as if he's not been able to keep it nailed completely to the curbing on the inside. He's drifted out slightly, and there's not very much contact, it has to be said, but certainly there appears to have been some contact, and yeah, that's a real shame. And what it has done, it's caused the guys behind him to check up fairly hard. So as we cross the line, coming out of this final turn, with Ian Smythe taking the lead. Smythe takes the lead from Cyril Thomas. So Cyril Thomas successfully surviving the manoeuvre from Harry White, sees the lead taken away from him as Smythe crosses the line in 1st place. And it's as I was saying, that accident has separated the first 2, and it's caused a lot of guys back in the pack to check up. And it's really caused a lot of problems. I think we lost Oki Stokenberger in that incident as well. Yes, indeed we did. Stokenberger's in the pit garage. So the much different running order as we go into lap 4. Ian Smythe leads from Cyril Thomas. Stefan Hoog up into 3rd place. That's a fantastic effort from Hoog, who started back in 8th place. So he's really made some places up there. And again, Smythe, big mistake from Smythe. Again, trying to go too quickly, take too much speed into that outer loop. And Carl, I'm going to get my breath back and have a drink, but it's all happening here on lap 4.
Yeah, as they headed into the carousel that last time there, Ian Smythe and Cyril Thomas made a little bit of contact there, and Smythe was unfortunately the worst recipient of that. He was able to hang on, but lost a ton of time. He now faces a huge uphill battle to be able to try to run Cyril Thomas. That purple number 06 machine is all sorts of beat up, lots of damage to the right side of that machine. He's got some front end damage as well, and not only is he going to have to worry about trying to run back down Cyril Thomas, the 17 the field are starting to reel him in as well. So a huge turn of events here, as you had previously mentioned. Oki Stokenberger was involved hugely in that accident, had nowhere to go, ran into the spun out car, and then ended up hitting the tire barriers and flipped upside down. A nasty crash for that 22 machine, who after just barely finishing in 2nd place last race, unfortunately going to be seeing the opposite side of the results page here in this 2nd race. But now as they complete lap number 4, it's all Cyril Thomas getting updated, scoring a 2.3 second lead after their contact there with Ian Smythe, and it's just 0.8 of a second behind Smythe is Gary Tall and Stephen Hoog. So lots of changes going on here in this 2nd event. Looked like Ian Smythe might have been able to take the first 2 events here at Watkins Glen, but now he's got a bit of work to do if he's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, and what this has done is it's really compacted the bottom half of the top 10, and the race for 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th couldn't be closer. We've got Patrice Longley racing hard, side-by-side racing with Matt Dalton for what looks to me to be... That's Ellis Stevens, my mistake. Ellis Stevens racing Patrice Longley hard there as they go around the carousel. And it looks like Stevens got the job done there. He's Longley's trying to come back. No, he's absolutely got it done. So as we run through this 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th battle, in fact, all the way back from 3rd place, Gary Toole in the Epicuri Banana car, the number 17 finds himself in third place after all of the contact in the carousel, and he's got a pack of very angry cars behind him, one of which is E&D Smythe. Now, I didn't see what had happened to Smythe there. I'm not sure if I've missed something. As Ben Gregory loses it while he's being lapped, and a great job by Cyril Thomas to avoid the lap traffic. So, yeah, again, very, very interesting. Things are shaking up again, and what it's given us is a very tightly packed train of cars now from second place all the way back to 9th and 10th position. Cars running line astern and side by side. It looks to me like, yeah, it's right. So let's get our bearings back. There's a lot going on here. Let me give you a rundown of the top 10 as they cross the line to begin lap 6. Thomas leads by 1.9 seconds from Ian Smythe. Stefan Hoog is 4th. Michael Stephen runs in 5th, and he'll be delighted with that after his incident in race 1. Thurston 6th. Dalton runs in 7th place. Patrice Longley is 8th, and Ellis Stevens is 9th. And again, there's contact in the carousel. It looks like the car around the outside is the big loser there, and we've seen that so many times tonight, Kyle. And
we got problems in the boot market. Another car has gone around the 305 machine. Michael Stephen made some contact there in the first turn of the boot, the left-hander there. Looks like he made contact with the 30 car of Stephen Hoog. Just looks like he got in a little bit too hot, made some contact with the left door of that 30 machine, spun it around. He only lost 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 or 6 spots off of that spin. He kept it going, but another tough break. And another car actually just went around. Watching the replay there, the 28 machine of Matthew Dalton spun out in 2 turns later.
Yeah, I think Dalton was carrying damage. He was one of the cars involved in the incident in the carousel just before. I've just been looking at that incident, and Hoog definitely left Michael Stephen enough space on the inside there, and Stephen just washed out as he tried to go up the inside of Stefan Hoog into that tight left-hand turn before they run down to the toe of the boot, and he's just got into the side of him. So nothing really Stefan Hoog could do there. Just unfortunate Michael Stephen ran a little bit wide. Right, so up front now we've got Cyril Thomas being caught very, very quickly. He's now being pursued by Gary Toole in the Epicuri Banana car as they come onto the back straight, and certainly that number 17 yellow and black machine has got the pace on the 888 of Cyril Thomas, and he goes around the outside in a facsimile of the move that we saw Smythe pull at the end of lap 1. Goes right around the outside before they even get to the carousel and takes the lead. So on this 7th lap, Gary Toole leads the race now. He's got Ian Smythe now behind him as Smythe makes again, that's the second time we've seen that move into that left-hander as they run down the chute. Smythe up the inside of Cyril Thomas, and Thomas finds himself 3rd. From 1st to 3rd in half a lap, and it looks like he's about to come under attack from Stefan Hoog, who survived that contact on the previous lap, and Thomas takes a very, very wide line coming out of the heel of the boot and manages to hang on, but he's got Stefan Hoog all over him, and Kyle, you can only imagine it's a matter of time before Hoog gobbles that 888 numbered car, just gobbles him up on the straight.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely been on the move here. That contact there with the 305 of Michael Stephen didn't really slow him down too much. He got a little sideways, but was able to hang on and is now in hot pursuit of the number 888 machine of Cyril Thomas, right on the back bumper as they're working at turn number 1. And with them being as close as he is, you know he's going to get a great run through that back straightaway, through the S's and onto this back straightaway. Both cars are suffering a little bit of damage, so not quite sure how that's going to affect them coming down the straightaway here, as we are about to find out. Ian Smythe, I was watching him a few laps ago as they went down this straightaway. He had some, what appeared to be, it looked like he had some toe damage from the incidents he was involved in. Now that he's got a few laps under his belt and has been able to adjust to how the car is feeling, he's able to stay with Gary Tull here for the most part, this is the exact same position that we saw him in with Oki Sokenberger in that last race, and he was able to come out on top. Now he's got a little bit more damage. I'm pretty sure Gary Tall has a clean car, so it's all about driver talent here and how well he can keep up with Gary Tall with that damage.
Yeah, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see quite how aggressive these guys are, bearing in mind that they are teammates. I'm sure that Smythe won't want to do anything silly as they come into the final couple of laps, and they're coming up amongst some lap traffic. They've got Hallie Ertas in front of them, and Hallie does a fantastic job and just gets very, very wide. And Ken gets right out the way. I'd probably do exactly the same thing. In fact, I'd probably park it, get out, give someone else the keys if I saw this lot thundering up behind me. So as we come to the end of this 8th lap and we move into the start of the 9th and penultimate lap, it's Gary Toole in the number 17 car, crosses the start-finish line in first place. He's got Ian Smythe right behind him. Smythe running about 7/10 of a second behind him, and their lap times within a 1/10 of a second that last lap, Kyle. So I don't know if that damage is slowing Smythe down, but he's not making enough progress to get locked into that draft and get alongside Gary Toole in front of him.
The damage has definitely got to be affecting him in somehow, way, shape, or form. We saw he was very, very strong in their opening stages of this race, and now he's really not able to suck up to Gary Tall down that straightaway, which we saw last race. The draft is just absolutely huge, so you would think that he'd be able to suck right up to the rear bumper and try to make a pass on him. Could still be trying to wait, it looks like he gained a little bit throughout these last couple of turns, and he's got 2 other cars behind him, so these top 4 cars, they have about just a little over 4 seconds on the 305 machine of Michael Stephen. And now they're side by side for the 3rd spot.
Yeah, that was the Triple Eight of Cyril Thomas. Got a bit leery under acceleration there, coming out of that tight hairpin, and had to counter steer and drop off of that inside line. And that was all the invitation Stefan Hoog needed to get past him. Now it'll be interesting to see if Hoog can put the guys in front under any pressure. I know he's generally a quick guy. We see him running well in the BTCC, but with Smythe carrying potentially a little bit of damage and his steering not being quite in a straight line, I wonder if Hoog fancies a run at him in this final lap. As they cross the start-finish line, it's still Gary Toole, and he's managing to fend off the attentions of those around him. He pulls out 0.2 of a second over Smythe on that lap, so Smythe definitely struggling, and that will put Gary Toole outside of that draft zone. It tends to kick in seriously at about 0.8 of a second. Smythe's not going to be able to take advantage of the draft here, and if anything, the one driver who is going to be able to take advantage may be Stefan Hoog.
Yeah, for sure. I just with the damage on that 06 machine and the gap as they worked their way into the carousel here, I don't think that anybody's going to really be able to have anything for Gary Tall. There just isn't enough time. He's got a fairly healthy lead. As long as he doesn't make any mistakes, I think he's going to be okay. I think the biggest battle is probably going to be to see if Stephen Hoog is going to be able to catch up to Ian Smythe here. Looks like he might be chomping that gap down just a little bit. He's got a healthy advantage over Cyril Thomas. I don't think Cyril's going to be of any threat to Stephen here with these last.
Yeah, and as we move into
this right-hander.
Sorry, Carl. As we move into the last half of the race, then, so it is just literally half a race. 3-4 corners is all Stefan Hoog's got to get up to and get past Smythe, and you've got to think if you can take a good line that these are corners that you can defend. So to be honest, I can't see, even if he gets right up behind Ian Smythe, and he's getting close now as they come to the penultimate corner, this fast left-hander. I can't see that he's going to get past him, and I think they're going to finish as they are. So a wonderful result out front for Gary Toole. He'll be absolutely delighted with that result, starting from 7th place on the grid as he did to take the win in race 2. Ian Smythe crosses the line in 2nd place, and again he'll be very, very pleased with that, starting way back in 10th, courtesy of the reverse grid system and his win in race 1. Stefan Hoog crosses the line in 3rd. He can't get close. He took half a second out of Smythe in that last lap, but just couldn't get close enough to get the job done. Cyril Thomas hangs on to 4th place, and he was really in the wars, so he'll be very pleased with that. Michael Stephen recovers to 5th after his race 1 issues. Patrice Longley finishes in 6th with Matt Malone in 7th just behind him, excuse me. Ellis Stevens is in 8th with Stanimir Zusov finishing 9th. And Robert Plumley finishes 10th. So Plumley again taking advantage of the reverse grid system, and he'll be starting on the front row of the grid for the 2nd race in a row. Fantastic racing from all involved there, and as we speak, Harry White is on the voice chat apologising to Andy Shield for the incident that unfortunately ended both of their chances in that race. It's good to hear that you know the apologies come and it's everybody's friendly. So an interesting race, Carl. It's certainly shaking things up again, but what we will see again is Ian Smythe having to drive through the field in race 3 as he did in race 2 if he wants to get a good result. Again, he'll be starting in 9th place.
Yeah, Marcus, Ian seems to be the class of the field here tonight. He'll work his way all the way up from 10th place to finish in 2nd. And I honestly believe that if he didn't make contact in the middle of the carousel, I really truly believe he could have been able to threat for the win and be able to contend for it to win both of these races. I definitely wouldn't expect anything less in this 3rd race for him to charge to the field and being.
Yep, absolutely. It's going to be a big ask. Robert Plumley will be keen to get away a hell of a lot better than he did in the first race. He lost 2 or 3 positions in the first 2 or 3 corners, and he really got gobbled up by the rest of the field there. And I'm not sure how happy he'll be starting in 2nd place and finishing down in 10th. But a great result in that race for Epicuri Banana, taking the first 2 spots, so 1-2, and you know they'll be celebrating quite hard. So that's it, an exciting 2nd race. Pretty much everything happening, too much at some points. Unfortunately, we can't keep an eye on absolutely everything, so apologies if we missed anything, but I'm sure you agree it was a hell of an exciting race with action all the way up and down the field. So I have been Marcus Narris. I was joined for this race, thankfully, by Kyle Young. We'll see you for race 3. If you go back to the BSR TV homepage here on YouTube, you'll see race 3 available for you to select. Please do so. Join us for what is sure to be an exciting 3rd race here from Watkins Glen in the BSR TV Carrera Cup.